Welcome to the Fierce as Fuck podcast. I'm your host, Amanda King, and I'm here to teach anybody who wants to fucking listen how to have the audacity to say fuck it to societal standards and live their most authentic life. This podcast is dedicated to bringing sexual conversations from behind closed doors onto the main fucking stage. Because sex, masturbation, squirting, guess what? It's all fucking normal. And by bringing these conversations to the forefront, we help people feel less alone in this world. We help them feel safe. We help them gain their power back, step into their confidence, and have the ability to express themselves authentically as fuck in this world. Because it takes fucking audacity to be your truest self. And we have boatloads of audacity up in this bitch. So let me ask you this. Are you ready for some everybody? So I get a lot of questions from women asking how to be more dominant in the bedroom. And I think that this is a really great discussion that we should have and should be its own podcast episode, because my hopes is that by kind of teaching you or discussing how to assert your dominance in the bedroom, I can help more women assert their dominance in their everyday life. Because as women, we are told not to be dominant people. We're actually a lot of the time shamed and ridiculed when we are dominant. If we are direct and we know what we want and we vocalize that, we're called bossy, or we're called bitchy, or we're called manipulative, or whatever fucking term that they want to use. And so a lot of women tend to shy away from being assertive in every aspect of their lives, but more specifically the bedroom, right? Because we undergo so much societal conditioning as women to believe that the bedroom is the place for the man. The control within the bedroom is the man's role, and that women are seen in this more, you're supposed to submit to the man and to his pleasure. And sometimes, a lot of times, your pleasure doesn't even matter. And there are a lot of women who really love and enjoy being submissive. And I don't want to shit on them. And this is no attack against them at all. Every sexual preference is completely different, right? And if you like going into the bedroom and not having to think about anything and not having to make decisions and having that ability to let go of control and let someone else take over, good for you. There is nothing wrong with that at all. But there are a lot of women out there as well that either they want to become more dominant in the bedroom to enjoy the pleasure in the bedroom, or they've had discussions with their partner about hey, their partner's like, I'd really like if you tried being dominant a little bit. And the societal conditioning that women undergo of hey, we need to be submissive and we need to be weak and we need to be this meek little kitten who just takes dick all of the time. Let's just get real crass there. But it's unfair for women, and it really causes a lot of women to feel like they're stuck in that kind of submissive role. And when their partner brings up the fact of hey, I'd like you to try being a little bit more dominant, women are like, what the fuck? I don't know how to do that. I'm going to be so awkward. How am I supposed to do this? And it's not your fucking fault, because no one has taught you how to do it. In fact, society has taught you the complete opposite. They have taught you to stay quiet and be passive and just kind of grin and bear it when it comes to all aspects of your life, but specifically in the bedroom, when you should be able to communicate your wants and your desires to your person. The bedroom should be your place of pleasure as much as it is your partner's. And so I want to discuss some of, I guess, the steps I have to help women become more dominant in the bedroom for those of you who want it, and recognize as well, this all translates into how to be more dominant and assertive in your life, because the world needs more dominant and assertive women right now. We need more women who are direct in unfiltered and unapologetic about expressing their wants and their desires and their needs in this world. The times are changing, and we need more women to step up and say, this isn't right. This is right. This is what I want. This is what I desire. I can be a sexual being and still be someone who is smart and funny and beautiful. It doesn't need to be one or the other. I get to say what I want and be unapologetic about it because I have that right, just like every single man on this planet has. And so the first step, I would say, if you were looking to be more dominant in the bedroom, is to recognize the fact that you're allowed to be more dominant in the bedroom. And I know that this is like, well, that's kind of a stupid first step, right? Like, obviously I recognize it, but do you actually recognize it? Because you have been ingrained with this idea and this notion that in the bedroom, you are supposed to just lay there and kind of take it, right? You are ingrained to believe that the bedroom is the place for the man's pleasure versus the woman's pleasure. You were made to believe that sex should be male pleasure focused rather than female pleasure focused. And that's unfair, right? Women already undergo so much shame about their bodies and like so much shame about just being who they are naturally. And in the bedroom, it should be a spot or a place, I guess, that you should feel like you can embrace all of your authenticity, where you can try and experiment with new things and be able to vocalize that to your partner without feeling awkward or shy about it. It is about recognizing that that person in the room with you is asking you to take control. They are saying to you in that moment, I feel safe. I'm giving you consent. And I want you to allow yourself to just tell me everything you want from me. I want you to tell me where to go. I want you to tell me what to do. I want you to tell me how you like it. And I want you to just be that person who gets to be dominant in this bedroom. If your partner is asking for that, they are saying to you, take it, right? I don't want the control right now. I don't want to have to be that person. I want you to initiate it. I want you to put yourself out there, because being dominant is putting yourself out there. It is being vulnerable, because dominance equals saying what you want, saying what you desire, and opening yourself up to rejection, which I think that is a huge fear among a lot of the women that contact me, and rightfully so, right? It's a huge fear with men too. Do not think because a man walks up to you and says, hey, do you want to have sex right now, that that's not vulnerable to him, right? Anytime you put yourself out there sexually, it is vulnerable. And so with being dominant, it is about recognizing that, like, hey, I have this right to sit here and tell my partner what I want, what I desire, and recognize that that's vulnerable as fuck. And that's going to be scary as fuck. The first time you kind of step into these dominant shoes, you are going to want to puke with every single thing you say, right? You are going to probably be so nervous and so afraid. And I think that there is a level of nervousness and fear that is protecting us, right? In situations where we feel that nervousness and that fear, we're like, I'm unsafe in this situation. I need to walk away from it. There's a difference between that and this nervousness and this fear of trying something new. And thinking that when you feel that, it's a bad thing, when it's not. Being nervous and scared a little bit to try something new is showing you that you are opening yourself up vulnerability wise, but also that you're evolving in that moment. You're trying something new. And that is scary as hell. The first time, if you played sports or you play an instrument or anything, you're in theater, the first time you get on stage. I was in theater in high school. And I remember every performance, the second I would step on, like right before I would go on stage, I would feel like I was going to puke everywhere. I would be shaking. I would be so nervous. But the second I got on that stage, boom, it was all gone. All of that fear, all of that nervousness just melted away. And I gave myself the ability to shine in that moment, right? No pun intended, being on stage. But afterwards, I would always feel amazing. It would be this adrenaline rush. I used to do it every time before soccer games. I played soccer for God knows how many years, and every game I would get nervous as shit beforehand. I would feel sick to my stomach, even though I knew I was capable, even though I knew I loved what I was doing. I would get so nervous. But the second that game started and my body kicked into action, everything melted away. That is the vibe you are going to feel when you are starting to assert your dominance in the bedroom and in life. You are going to, the first time your partner walks in and you tell them to sit down on the bed and get undressed, or you're going to sit there and say, sit down and listen to me, you are going to feel like you are going to die a little bit. You're going to be uncomfortable, and it's okay, right? This uncomfortableness is you working through all of this societal conditioning, telling you that you weren't allowed to do this. This uncomfortableness is you expanding in that moment and reaching new horizons and evolving on a brand new level. If you're not nervous at first, you're not doing it right. You should be nervous. I have had sex since I was 16. Every new sexual experience that I ever initiate in, I'm nervous as hell. I've been with my partner for 9 years. Our anniversary is in like 2 weeks. 9 years. And if we try something new sexually, I'm still a little fucking nervous. I'm like, God, what if like my body makes this noise? Or like, what if like this feels awkward? Or like, what if it feels so good that I lose control and I become feral? Like, there are so many thoughts going through my head every single time. That is normal. And that's kind of what you want. You want to be nervous. You want to feel excitement, right? Nervousness and excitement are the exact same thing. So the first time you start recognizing, hey, I'm allowed to feel dominant in this bedroom, I'm allowed to take control, and you actually do, you're gonna freak out a little. That's so fucking normal. And that's not something to run away from. That is something to run towards, because you are expanding so much in that moment. So know the second that you put those boots on, right, that you're gonna freak out a little. And that's okay. Take a deep breath before you do it. Have a glass of wine. Practice in the mirror. Like, honest to God, one of the things that I always tell people on Snapchat and Instagram, especially with dirty talk, is get in front of a mirror, get on camera, and say the things that you want to say to your partner to yourself. And watch your facial expressions while you do it, right? So if you're practicing being more dominant and you want to tell your partner what to do, get in front of a mirror and just be like, I want you to pull your pants down right now. And I want you to start touching yourself. And I want you to tell me what you're thinking of as you're touching yourself. I want you to look in the mirror and say something along those lines. And you can be more graphic, right? Or less graphic, whatever you want. And I want you to say it in the mirror and just watch your facial expressions. If you start to cringe a little, practice more, right? If you say something and you make that like scrunch, I call it the kind of the scrunchy nose face, try it again. Try it until you find a way that makes you feel confident, that makes you feel powerful, and that you're able to say with a straight face, without any type of emotion, except for like this seductive, like, we're going to fucking do this look. It takes practice to be dominant because you were told you're not supposed to be, ladies. And so it may take some time to recognize that you're allowed to do this and to feel comfortable enough to do it. So start practicing today. Get in front of a mirror, right? And what I do mirror work all the time. And one of the things I always do is if I'm going to do mirror work, if I'm going to be there nude, or I'm going to put on an outfit that makes me feel really powerful. And I'm going to look in the mirror and I'm going to look at myself and I am going to sensually touch myself. Like, I'll move my hands up and down. I'll play with my clothing, and then I'll just talk to myself, right? I'll say what I want to say. And then that way I get more comfortable about it. I get more confident in it. I get to see the way my body moves and reacts to what I'm saying, so that I know that when I'm going into it, right? It's like a rehearsal before the big play. You're rehearsing so that you know what you look like while you're going in there. So you don't have to think of, oh my God, I wonder what I look like when I say that. You're going to know exactly what you look like because you're going to practice ahead of time. It's okay to practice things, ladies. You don't need to walk into a session and just be this like dominatrix, domineering person. You can work your way up, but the first couple of times you try it probably are going to be a little awkward. They're probably going to be a little clunky, I think is the best word. They're probably going to make you feel a little weird at first. Once again, this is okay. This is part of the process. This is you stepping into your power and starting to recognize that you're allowed to feel this way and that you're fucking human and you can practice on your own and then just start adding little bit of things into the bedroom one at a time, right? Rather than going from, hey, I'm used to being in this submissive role to now I'm going to be this dominatrix type of woman. There is plenty of space in between there. There are plenty of practice steps to get there, practicing by yourself. And then as you are having sex, start practicing being a little bit more assertive, right? Or not, I don't want to say demanding, but communicative, there we go, of what you want. So maybe it is your husband is, I don't know, he is on top of you. You guys are in missionary and it's good, but you want more. Being able to say, let me get on top. That's being dominated. That is being dominated, yes. And like that is you telling your partner what you want and what you desire. And that is you being dominating in a good way. And it can be that small, right? It can be sitting here and your partner's going down on you and you come and then you turn around and say, I want to taste you. Sit down, lay down, right? It could be something as simple as lay down. All those little things, it can be little itty bitty steps for you to communicate what you want and what you desire. I want you to go down on me right now. I want you to slow down. I want you to speed up to the left, faster. Pinch my nipples while you do that. Bite my nipples, grab my ass. These are all ways of you communicating and being a little bit more dominating that isn't full dominatrix, right? These are little steps that you can start doing right now. So recognize you're allowed to be direct. Practice being direct and then start adding little tidbits into the bedroom that help you step more into this dominating role. And then when you're ready, fully say, I'm ready for a session where I take complete control. I'm ready to dominate in this bedroom. And so when you've reached that stage of like, okay, this is my time to shine, right? This is where I get to be in control. It's about going in and recognizing this is your pleasure, right? This is your time to focus solely on your pleasure. The partner that you are with wants you to feel so much pleasure, right? And they will get off and feel pleasure seeing you take pleasure. You are being given consent to take pleasure from them. So let this be a time where you get to take pleasure from them. Let this be a time where it gets to be about you and what you want and how good you want to fucking feel. It is about you in this moment. So come into that session of like, this is my pleasure. I get to do what I want. This is about making myself feel good. And my partner's going to feel good because I feel really good. The second step is everyone gets caught up in, well, what do I say? What do we do? How do I quote unquote dominate? The easiest thing that you can do, in my opinion, is having them come into the room, or if they're in the room, having them sit down and either you telling them exactly what you want them to do to you or what you're going to do to them, right? So in a dominating role, it is about commanding the room, having a presence that is just magnetic. It's about being able to express what you want, but also to hear what other people want from you without feeling weird about it. So if you are more comfortable telling your partner what you want to do to them, then have them sit down and say to them, this is exactly what I'm going to do to you on this session. Like, I'm going to sit here and we're going to start and I'm going to fucking blow you. I'm going to pull down your pants. I'm going to put your cock in my mouth and I'm going to start off really slow. I'm going to tease you a little bit, maybe just the tip. And then as I start seeing your body get more tense, I'm going to put you in a little deeper, right? You can do something like that where you start telling them everything you want to do to them. Or you could even flip it and tell them everything you want them to do to you. Of sit down, and this is exactly what I want from you. I want you to, like I said before, I want you to take your pants off and I want you to start touching yourself. And you're going to sit here and you're going to watch me touch myself. And you're not going to be allowed to touch me at all. No matter how much I beg, no matter how wet I get, you have to sit there and you have to just watch me. If that's something you're into, then do that, right? If both of those are like, oh my God, I can't just sit there and say it, then I can't sit there and say all of those things. Okay, then sit your partner down and say, what do you want to do to me? Tell me in vivid detail. Put them on the spot a little. That's still being dominating because you're telling them you want to hear what they want, but it's about you as well. So saying to them, what do you want to do to me? And also being able to be like, if they are telling you of like, well, I want to go down on you, being able to stop and say, no, more detail, be more vivid, slow down, right? It's just telling them, hey, no, don't just jump to the full enchilada. Let's take this slow. It's telling them that you're waiting for the tease that you want, the tease. Being dominating is also about teasing, right? It's about teasing yourself and teasing your partner because you're teasing them by letting them know that you want the pleasure to be you and that you want everything from this session and you get to have everything from this session. That's teasing for them because they're excited to give it to you. And it's teasing for you because you're excited to receive it. So sit them down or stand them up, pin them against a wall, whatever the fuck you want to do. And either say to them exactly what you want to do to them, exactly what you want them to do to you, or tell them, tell me what you want right now. That's being dominating, right? Tell me what you want. You're demanding that they speak and they verbalize their affection and their desire and their want for you. That's still being dominating without feeling like you have to come up with all of the material. With being dominating, direct eye contact, confidence, and power are the three things that make someone feel dominating, right? It is direct eye contact is, I think, one of the sexiest things for men and women. When I meet people and they're able to have conversations with me and keep direct eye contact, I find that extremely sexy because that shows me they're unafraid to say what they want and to hear what I have to say. And they're not going to look around. They're not going to look down on the ground. They're going to keep direct eye contact with me because they want me to know that they are focused solely on me, that I am so entertaining or so intriguing that they can't keep their eyes off me, and vice versa. When I talk to people, I am direct eye contact the entire time because with direct eye contact, I'm making this about you in this moment. I am letting you know that I am interested, intrigued, fascinated, enamored by you. And direct eye contact, I feel, is one of the hardest things for women to do. And I don't mean direct eye contact where it's like that creepy staring at someone, because you all have experienced that, right? There's a way of doing direct eye contact that's extremely natural. And just looking them in the eyes lets them know I'm feeling really confident right now. And I want you to see me because I want to see you. It makes them feel seen in that moment and allows you to feel seen when they return it. It doesn't need to be this super intense, like non-blinking Wednesday Addams type of deadpan stare. It is just looking at them the entire time that you were saying things to them. Of course, blink. Yes, you can look down and then look up a little, right? But it's about maintaining that eye contact because eye contact makes people feel valued in that moment, and it makes them feel like you were actually intrigued by them. And being dominating is keeping that eye contact and saying, look at me, right? Women tend to close their eyes a lot during sex. One of the reasons is, and I've discussed this on like a TikTok before, about like disruptive thoughts. We get really into our heads. Sometimes it just, all these things will take us out visually. But even saying to your partner during times where, if you are, say you're going down on them, right? And looking up at your partner and saying, look at me when I do this to you. Don't close your eyes. Focus on me. And then looking up at them while you're doing it could be a huge turn on. Dominance. It's showing that you're confident in what you're doing. It's showing them that you see them, which inevitably, everyone on this planet wants to feel seen, right? Every single person on this planet just wants to feel seen. So during sex, if you can make someone feel physically seen, that is going to be the most mind-blowing, connective, intimate, amazing sex, because they're going to feel in that moment that they're actually being seen by you. So don't be afraid to tell them to look at you, or to even say, like, you could even play around and be like, don't look at me, but you look at them the whole time, right? Don't look at me in the eyes. Play with your, I don't know. This is a moment for you to be creative. And it's a moment for you to find your style. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go. When we think of dominating, a lot of times our heads go to like BDSM and what a dominatrix is. And you see it very one way, right? It is this like leather clad, like domineering, like really almost aggressive kind of attitude. It doesn't need to be like that for everybody, right? If that doesn't resonate with you, it's about you finding your own kind of domineering style. It's about you feeling the most confident, because that's what dominance is about. It's about being confident. So whatever makes you feel confident, go with that and throw every other notion of what dominance looks like out the fucking window. It's not about being them. It's about finding your own unique style with it, because then you're going to feel comfortable and confident, and people are going to just love that aspect of you. And when I say like power, right? Direct eye contact, confidence, and power. Don't be afraid to dress the part. And by dress the part, once again, I don't mean you need to get into all of the leather clad shit. By dressing the part, it is about wearing something that makes you feel undeniably powerful. Whether that is a piece of lingerie, whether that is comfy clothes, whether that is absolutely nothing at all, whatever makes you feel like the sexiest motherfucker on this fucking planet is what you need to be wearing during this session. Dress the part. When you feel confident and comfortable in a specific outfit, that is going to radiate everyone. Like, I know that when I specifically put on an outfit that makes me feel so sexy and so just in my body, I am overall more confident that day. I am overall more aggressive in a good way. Like, I'm playfully aggressive. I'm playfully flirty. I am, hey, like, let me tell you what I want, because I feel really confident in my body. So don't be afraid to dress the part while you are experiencing or experimenting, and playing with being more dominant. Switch up your outfits. Whatever makes you feel the sexiest is it. It's almost like, and this may help some people, it may not, take it or leave it. It's almost like creating an alternative personality, an alter ego. There we go, right? Some women cannot get outside of themselves when they think of being dominant. It just doesn't resonate with them. Why not create an alter ego that it does resonate with? This alter ego can have her own fucking name, right? It's role playing, right? Call her Storm. I love that name, Storm, right? It's chaotic, it's sexy, it's powerful, it's spontaneous. What does she look like, right? What is her vibe? What does she want, right? And step into that alter ego when you're stepping into your dominating role in the bedroom. This way you can kind of compartmentalize it if that helps you. But it's almost like it's playing a role rather than you trying to pull this out of you if you're not ready for it to be pulled out of you. It's like being on stage and acting and playing this role that makes you feel really good while playing it. Not playing it to the point where you feel like gross about it, but where you feel, wow, I get to be Storm in this moment and it's all about her fucking pleasure. And all she wants is to feel pleasure. And she is unafraid and unapologetic to ask for that. Think about stepping into a little bit of an alter ego. Another thing with dominating a lot of time is praise, right? It's a reward system. Don't be afraid to, in a way, dominating is also kind of praising your partner in the moment, saying things like, oh, that's a good boy. That feels really good. If you don't like good boy, find something else, right? That's my man. That feels so good. More of that. Right? Giving them praise during your dominating, right? Will help them feel more seen and they will want to do that more. So if you're dominating and you're in this sexual position or this sexual, I don't know, entanglement, right? And it feels really fucking good. Dominating women will say, that feels fucking amazing. You feel so good. That feels incredible. Keep doing that. That's being dominating. I think that, like I said, we think dominating is this huge, big fucking thing, but it's little things that you can start doing. So praising your partner in when they do the right things and letting them know how much you appreciate that and how much you love that is a way of dominating, because it's you communicating that it feels good and that you want that pleasure. And ultimately, as I kind of wrap this up, this gets to be about you, right? Being dominating means this gets to be about your pleasure. So if you're on top and you're like, you want it deeper, it feels good, but you want something, you want it, feel it deeper. Don't be afraid to look at your partner and say, raise your hips, right? Don't say, please raise your hips. You can say, baby, raise your hips, but give them a direct command, right? Go faster, dig deeper, grab my ass. It gets to be about what feels good to you. Don't be afraid to get on top. Don't be afraid to demand positions. Don't be afraid to say, I want you to do me from behind on this countertop. Don't be afraid to say, rub my clit. Don't be afraid to say, I'm bringing a toy in and I'm going to use this toy during our session. Because it gets to be about you in that moment. It gets to be about your pleasure. And more women deserve to feel that pleasure. And like I said before, take these, I don't know, steps, these tips, whatever you want to call them, and apply them to your everyday life too. You don't need to just be dominating in the bedroom. You can be dominating in every aspect of your life, but it's more about just giving yourself the permission to do so, because you have the permission. You are allowed to be more dominant. Thank you guys for being here. If you like this episode, go ahead and share it with your friends. Feel free to DM me, tell me your thoughts, feelings, opinions on this episode, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Fierce as Fuck podcast. And some parting words for you today. Remember this: no matter how hard society pushes you down, no matter how many times you fall, as long as you get the fuck back up, they can never stop you. You are unfuckable with. You will win. Don't allow this world to dictate how you show up in it. Don't allow society to make you bend the knee. Instead, make them bend theirs. And don't forget, if you like what you heard, go on to iTunes and Spotify and leave your girl a review. Until next time, my